And welcome into the Dynasty 365 podcast, the Dynasty Fantasy Football podcast for fantasyandframes.com and the Fantasy and Frames Podcast Network. I am joined today by my co-host, Bill Mustafa. Bill, how you doing, man?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Doesn't feel too late either, so looking forward to getting into some Dynasty chat.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how you're going to sleep after this, man.
Yeah, I'll find a way, I'm sure.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad. So, yeah, if you're listening for the first time, we do this once a week. We discuss Dynasty Fantasy Football, and it'll be ramping up a little more in the off season. We're kind of keeping it low key during the season. We're focusing on Fourth and Frames, which is our in-season redraft podcast, which we will be recording right after this, and it will be live on our YouTube channel immediately after this. If you haven't checked out the fantasyandframes.com website, please do so. We have plenty of awesome content on there. Waiver wire articles every week for both IDP and offense. We have stardom, situm. We have just informational articles by our buddy Les. Everyone is doing awesome over at the website, so please go check it out. So what we are going to discuss today is trades. I wanted to do a trade show, and it's just fun to discuss these in the season as well as when we're really getting into playoff time. A lot of contenders are making trades right now. And speaking of contenders making trades, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Oh, let me set the stage. So we got all of these trades off Twitter. If I have their handles, I'm going to mention them. But what we are doing, since, we don't have the minutia of every trade and all the details of everything, we're mostly assuming it's a super flex league. If they say a first or second round pick, we're assuming it's a middle of the round pick. And we are also assuming 12-team leagues. And just for argument's sake, I plugged all of these trades into the DLF calculator, the Dynasty League Football website, just to get a little bar to go off of. And one thing, Bill, you mentioned to me earlier was that you're a competitor in a league and you got some quotes for players. Can you tell me a little bit about those quotes that you got?
Yeah, so competitor, all of us at Fantasy and Frame, if we're playing Dynasty football, we're all competitors, we're the experts, right? Another team in the league who thought he was contending and 2-9 record says otherwise. So I thought, I'd shoot him a message as all good fantasy players should do. Listen, it doesn't look like you're winning this year. How about some of those vets? I got a couple of quotes back that I thought would be interesting talking points. So first one, Amari Cooper. I was quoted a 2023 first round pick. David Montgomery, I was also quoted a 2023 first round pick. And the last one was Jamal Williams. I was quoted a 2023 second round pick. I just want to know what are your thoughts on that, Tyler. What do you reckon? You reckon that's fair value for any of those guys, or is he looking at silly money?
I like two of them. I like the late first for Amari Cooper. I'm not going early. I don't even know if I'd go mid. He's still a 27-year-old wide receiver, but he is going to be productive for the next few years. With the setup the Browns have, it's Amari Cooper and it's David Njoku and it's whoever they can draft.
Yeah,
that's
when they're
about
not giving the ball to Nick Chubb.
Exactly, and honestly, it's gone pretty well. He's the wide receiver 8 on the year with Jacoby Brissett throwing him the ball.
With Jacoby Brissett.
So do you think you're gonna do that one, or are you scared off by Amari Cooper? Just kind of.
Do you know what? The late first round pick I would do, but just because of trades and stuff and the way it's panned out, I've got some first round picks, but they all look like they're going to be in the top 8 picks. And I just don't know if I'm prepared to give that kind of value for him. What I've got in my head at the minute is maybe to offer a guy like a Gabe Davis and a third and see if that sort of gets a counter maybe, or he looks at it and goes, I'll take the youth of Gabe Davis and I get the immediate impact of Amari Cooper. But I'm not sure. It might we'll see how it goes. It's definitely the one that I'm considering the most, I think, is the Amari Cooper. If any of them I pull the trigger on any of them, it'll probably be the Amari Cooper one at that price.
I like it. And do you like the Jamal Williams value for a second?
I've got DeAndre Swift, so I like the value a little bit more. If I didn't have Swift, I don't know if I would pull the trigger on the second. But again, my problem is my seconds are looking like they're going to be the 13th, 14th, or 15th pick, that kind of range, like early seconds. I'm thinking, do I want Jamal Williams for an early second, or do I want one of those receivers that always falls out of the first? Like a Jahan Dotson or a Pickens last year that just fell out of the first and inevitably will have more value this time next year than Jamal Williams. So I don't know. It's another one that I'm thinking. I tried to sell him on a couple of thirds. He wasn't having it.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
And I think that is correct. The value for Jamal Williams right now. He's a 27-year-old running back. It's not like he's a free agent after this year. Maybe he resigns in Detroit and maintains some of that role that he has now, but he's not going to go gangbusters anywhere and just blow up next year. And the way he's performing, which I believe he is the running back 10 on the season. I will fact check that. But yes, he's running back 10 on the season.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
TDs.
Great production.
It's all TDs.
But he's getting all the carries,
He's getting all the goal line stuff, isn't he? And
yeah,
Jared Goff isn't going to take any of them away from him. DeAndre Swift doesn't look like he's favored for that, so it looks like that's his job until he messes it up.
Yeah, and I think a mid second rounder is right. I think it's the right price to pay. I think it's the right price to sell at. So, when you're talking 13, 14, 15, it gets a little more questionable.
That's the problem. I've got the picks, just not in the right spot.
Yeah. And the last one, I do not agree with the value of David Montgomery for a first. What you told me was he traded a first for David Montgomery at the beginning of the year, correct?
From me.
Okay.
I sold Najee Harris for a 2023 first and David Montgomery. Nice. So, and then I wanted to get rid of Montgomery and turn Harris into 2 firsts, which I managed to do. And now with DeAndre Swift as one of my RB1s, I'm worrying a little bit that, the touches aren't there, the injury problems. So I'm just trying to get some backup. And I can't do it. I can't give a first round pick for David Montgomery. I don't know where he's going to be next year. And just not for me. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to get over the line. He seems pretty adamant he wants that first.
Yeah, that I would never do that. I'm right there with you. Yeah. My idea when you mentioned that was, hey, here's a first. I'll take David Montgomery in a second. So essentially, you're trading down 8-10 spots.
Yeah.
To get David Montgomery. That seems reasonable.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Or I was thinking maybe James Cook in a second or something like that. Try and tempt him with the age difference with the youth, of a rookie or a sophomore player. Yeah. But again, we'll see how that pans out for me. I'll update you next week on next week's episode. I'll update you.
All right, sounds good. I can't wait to hear it. Yeah. And one name you mentioned when we were talking about receivers falling out of the first was Jahan Dotson. And I actually have a trade on the table to get Jahan Dotson and a 24-second and give up Jamal Williams and Kadarius Toney. That seems like I should be accepting it. I just don't know if I'm crazy about Jahan Dotson right now. Where are you at on him?
I was a big fan of Dotson coming out. Really liked him at Penn State. And the start of the season went really well with Carson Wentz. The injury to him, the injury to Wentz, Heineke, taking that job over has obviously affected Dotson. He hasn't got that chemistry with Tyler Heineke that he had with Carson Wentz. But I'm not too worried because next year I don't see Carson Wentz or Tyler Heineke being the quarterback in Washington. I think they're going to draft a guy if they get lucky enough or a high enough draft pick. A guy like Levis or Stroud if possible, or the guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, Mitch Trubisky. There's going to be some options there that give Dotson a chance to work in the offseason with a new quarterback and build that kind of chemistry he had with Carson Wentz. So I'm looking to buy low on Dotson. I'm hoping he has a couple more sort of games where he struggles to get any rapport with Tyler Heineke, and I can sneak in there with a late second round pick and tempt him away for some teams, because I think he's a guy that has just been unlucky through circumstance. The talent is there.
Yes.
We know Curtis Samuel hasn't got the best track record with history, with injury. So it could be a case that you pick him up for an early second or a late second, this year, and next year he's the clear wide receiver 2 in Washington in an offense that should be throwing the ball. Like when you look at the players they've got, they should be passing the ball. They just don't trust the quarterback, and I don't expect that quarterback to still be leading that team next year. So for me, he's a buy low candidate.
All right, so you're talking me into hitting the accept button on that trade.
Yeah, I would have accepted that already.
Yeah.
Kadarius
Toney is just
no hamstrings.
He's such a wild card.
Yeah,
but
no hamstrings. Can't stay healthy.
Yeah, and keep in mind with Curtis Samuel, they could cut him next year. I don't know if they will. He's a $13 million cap hit next year.
Oh no, they're not cutting him.
Well, but he's a $7.2 million dead cap hit. So,
they might do.
That would only save him $5.8 million against the cap. So I think there's a good chance he's still on the team next year.
Yeah, I don't know how up against it they are.
I'll have to look at that. But one thing I noticed: Curtis Samuel is 26 years old still. He's not even 26 and a half.
I thought he was older than that. I thought he was 28. That sort of age. Like
he's been in the league for 6 years, and he's still 26. He came in really young.
He came in early. I mean, the talent is there. The ability is there. It's just can he stay healthy, and how much? Like, are you going to let a good slot receiver take away from a clear, a guy that can play on the outside and be a wide receiver too, like Jahan Dotson? I just don't see. I think they're a quarterback change and one injury from Curtis Samuel away from Jahan Dotson being a real valuable piece in that Washington offense. And I'm buying that at a second round value all day.
I like it. I think I might hit accept before the end of the episode if I can get it up.
That's what we want. We want a live accept. We want a live trade.
Yes. All right. One that I want to mention that you saw me write it on the show doc, and you're like, "What the hell is that?" So someone on Twitter asked me, "Hey, I have an offer to get Fields and Darnell Mooney and give up Deshaun Watson and Tua." No, stop it.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yes. I just thought it was a good reminder to don't overreact to Justin Fields. Like, do you think Justin Fields is going to be some top level dynasty quarterback? Do you feel that way?
No, I have real concerns about his ability to win consistently from the pocket and win consistently throwing the football. That for me, he's great at the moment for fantasy football. He's an exciting player, but I still think he's a risky asset. And when you're trading away 2 quarterbacks, Tua's having a great year. He's got some serious weapons in Waddle and Hill. And then I think people forget how good Deshaun Watson has been. Like off the field stuff. Okay, let's not get into that. Just purely as a quarterback, he is quite clearly head and shoulders above these 2. And now he will be. He's probably got the best supporting cast of his career in Cleveland. In Houston, okay, he had Nick Hopkins, but now he's got Amari Cooper, he's got David Njoku, he's got a super running game and an offensive line that can protect him.
Yes.
I just don't see how, for me, Deshaun Watson's the biggest part of that deal. And you're sending him and another quarterback I'd rather have over Justin Fields for Justin Fields and a wide receiver on IR.
Yeah, no,
just don't do that. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, it was a magical month for Justin Fields, but don't get carried away. Heck,
I agree.
Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts are looking at Justin Fields' rush attempt numbers and saying, "Ooh, no, I don't think so."
Yeah, it's very RG3-ish.
Yes.
Let's hope that it doesn't end the same way, but I'm not confident it's going to last.
Yeah, I don't feel great about it either. One we got sent in from @Baldwin1019 on Twitter. So he received a 24 first and a 25 second, and he gave up a 24-second and George Pickens. So when I plug that into DLF, it says the Pickens side is favored by 60 points. Take it for what you will. It's somewhat of a measuring stick to see if something's fair. I have my feelings on this trade, but I want to hear yours, Bill.
I mean, so it was a mid first and a mid second for Pickens and a mid second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want Pickens in the mid second all day, all day.
And
like, is that 60 out of 100? Is that 60 out of 1,000? Like, I don't know what they've marked that as, but that should be a big dub for whoever got George Pickens.
I think the total on the Pickens side was like 270, and I think the total on the other side was 210.
One, George Pickens looks like a stud in a poor Steelers offense. Two, I'm not like, I've got to wait to 25 really to get that extra bit of value, because it feels right now like I'm giving a first and I'm getting Pickens in the second, and that's 2 years down the line, right? These are 24 picks.
Yep.
Yeah, give me Pickens. Give me Pickens all day.
Yes, I'm right there with you. I just wanted to hear if you were on that side as well. And I'm sorry, at Baldwin 1019, I would not have made that trade.
No.
And give me George Pickens all day. He's looked.
Listen, guys, you've got my Twitter handle. You got Tyler's Twitter handle. Feel free to hit us up before you make these trades. I'm happy to assist in any way, and tell you not to do stupid stuff. I've got no problem telling you not to do stupid stuff. It's fine, honestly.
Yes, we are your emotional support system and your safety net here at Fantasy and Frames and Dynasty 365. So I'm going to mention one of our own, at FF Chalupa Batman, Zach Berger. He made a trade recently. He got DeAndre Swift and a 24 third, and he gave up Dalvin Cook and a 25 third. So DLF has this pretty heavily favored to the DeAndre Swift side by 150 points. I'm a little hesitant based off DeAndre Swift's health and his history.
Yeah.
Does that scare you off?
Yeah, it's strange because this doesn't feel as big a mistake to me as the Pickens trade, but they have this as 150 points Swift side compared to 60 points on the Pickens side. Yeah. The only, for me personally, if we're looking at the player and the picks, I'm not too far off it. Like, I worry about Swift. I worry about his usage and his injury history, and if he's ever is he going to be the guy that we will look at and go, he could have been so good if he just cracked it, if he just had that little bit extra, or had that slightly better vision, or whatever it is that is just holding him back. But the reason I don't like this trade is I feel like if you've got Swift, you could get more. I feel like if you're giving Swift and receiving Cook, you should be picking up more than just a swapping a thirds.
Yes. So this one I at least got the background behind from Zach. He got DeAndre Swift. He gave up Dalvin Cook. He is a rebuilding team, and the person who made the trade is a competing team. So he wanted someone to start right now, and I don't think it's debatable that the better fantasy option for the remainder of the season is Dalvin Cook.
100%.
Yeah. So the trade makes sense to me.
Yeah, it makes sense for both sides. And to be fair, to pick up Swift, give Cook, and not have to give up any more really apart from swapping some thirds, he's done well, in my opinion. He's done well.
Yes. I approve, Zach. I think it was a savvy move, but that's pretty much all Zach makes. So
and that's one of them. If the guy that picks up Dalvin Cook, goes on to win a championship or goes on to play in the championship game, then you look at it and go, do you know what? It makes sense for both sides, and that's one of those rare win-win. Everybody's happy at the end of it, which are nice to see when they happen, but they're not too common, unfortunately.
Absolutely. So I want to mention a couple Cooper Cup trades, and then I want to get into what probably the favorite trade that was sent to us on Twitter. But, that is regarding one of the top wide receivers in fantasy football. But before we do that, let's talk about Cooper Cup. I got a trade from at Ty Salazar 8 on Twitter, and he got DeAndre Hopkins, and he gave up Cooper Cup straight up. This is a competing team getting DeAndre Hopkins, giving up Cooper Cup. So where are you at with that?
Yeah, I like it. I think they're both similar age. They're close, aren't they? I think Nook might be a little bit older, but they're not far away. Cup, when he's on the field, he's a target hog. He's obviously, last year just ran away with that wide receiver one title, but I don't think he's coming back this year. I don't think there's any point in the Rams bringing him back. They're struggling. What's their quarterback situation going to be like next year? Is Stafford going to be back? Is McVay going to call it a day? There's a lot of questions there. We know Nook Hopkins is the target hog in any offense he's in. I have more faith in his quarterback situation as well. So yeah, give me, and especially if you're contending right now, you're going to get, that 15-point floor every week from Nook Hopkins as opposed to nothing with Cooper Kupp sitting in your IR. I'd take Nook Hopkins there.
Yeah, I actually made a trade not for Nook Hopkins. I made a trade of Cooper Kupp. So what I did was I gave up Cooper Kupp and Romeo Doubs, and I received Christian Kirk and Terry McLaurin. So where are you at on that? Did I make a mistake?
No, so I've got that written down in front of me when I saw it. I didn't know that was yours. I didn't know it was your trade. Yeah. I've got my dub next to the Christian Kirk and Scary Terry side. But I have got the asterisks of maybe could have extracted a little bit more. It just obviously I haven't got the background of is someone competing, is someone not competing, etc., etc. Yeah. But I mean, I look at it. I've got Cup in quite a few of my leagues sitting on my IR. If someone offered me Christian Kirk and Scary Terry for Cooper Kupp and Romeo Doubs, I'm doing that. Yeah, not 10 times out of 10, I'm hitting accept on that.
I like it. So would you give up Terry McLaurin for DeAndre Hopkins?
No.
Okay.
No. I don't think any wide receiver in the NFL has more snaps out wide than Terry McLaurin. It's between him and Michael Pittman last time I looked. And if you're on the field out wide in clear passing downs, there's opportunity. Now, you might not always get the target, you might not always get the reception, but that opportunity potential for a wide receiver how old's Scary Terry? 25?
27.
27. So he's still got a few years to catch up to Cooper Kupp and Nook Hopkins. You're going to get a little bit more out of him. Yeah, give me Scary Terry. For me, he's the biggest dynasty asset of those four players. And like I said to you before, I want the best dynasty asset on that side of the trade.
I like it. Are you not concerned that Terry McLaurin's just going to go through his career and kind of be an Allen Robinson scenario of just
I knew you were going to say Allen Robinson. No, I think Washington are gonna make the change this year, and whether it's a huge upgrade, like whether they go out and get their guy, I don't know, but I don't think it's going to be difficult to upgrade Carson Wentz and Tyler Heineke, even a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, or if they pick up one of the guys in the draft. I think it's going to be possible for them to upgrade it. So I don't think he's going to have one of those careers. But Allen Robinson's never had a quarterback. He's put up some stellar fantasy years with no quarterbacks. It's only once he got a quarterback he stopped putting up fantasy points. Work that one out.
Yes. So, man, Jorge is watching, and I don't think he's enjoying all of the shots we're taking.
Sorry, boss.
At the Commanders. Yes, I sincerely apologize, but also don't.
I like Johan Dotson. That counts for something, right? I guess.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, man. All right. So, last one. This was my favorite that we got in. It was at BRGordy48 on Twitter. This is a juicy one. So, he picked up Kirk Cousins, Jamar Chase, and a 23 second, and he gave up DK Metcalf, David Montgomery, Tua, and a 2023 first. So plugging that into DLF, the Metcalf side wins by a landslide, 500 points of value. But obviously, sometimes the sum is greater than the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. Is that the right saying? Does that apply here? I don't know.
I don't know. We'll go with it though.
Yeah, I'll try again on metaphors, and not the best at those. But what you just mentioned was always getting the best asset in a trade. So would you give up all this value to get Jamar Chase and Cousins in a second?
Yeah. Quite. Yeah. I don't understand how DLF has it as a landslide. Like I get if you start in, you plug DK Metcalf in where you've lost Jamar Chase. There's a downgrade there. I think quite a big downgrade, more than people probably want to admit. You plug Tua with Kirk Cousins again. Kirk's a QB1 this year.
Yeah. I'll fact check. He is QB 13, right on the border.
Right on the border, so he's close.
And that's just because the Cowboys pulled their pants down 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, of course, I forgot about that. He bounced back again. He bounced back against the Patriots. Everyone's allowed an off day.
Yeah, he did.
and then David Montgomery, who I think is going to have value for the next 4 games,
and
then maybe the rest of the season if Khalil Herbert doesn't come back. And then what? He doesn't get re-signed in Chicago, in my opinion. Where does he end up?
I don't know.
Does he bounce around? Does he become Melvin Gordon and bounce around? Go somewhere else, split the backfield, ruin some other guy's fantasy perspectives, and then end up on the Kansas City practice squad? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not confident that he's going to be a starter next year, is what I'm trying to say. So now look at it and go, okay, for this season, maybe I want the Montgomery and Tua side because I'm trying to win a championship. But this is Dynasty we're talking about, and you're offering me a 22, 23-year-old Jamar Chase, who, for my money, is a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL.
Yes.
Got the age, got the quarterback, got it. He's got the it factor. Trying to get Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase in Dynasty football is so difficult. And you're telling me that I can get Jamar Chase and all I've got to give up is 1 first-round pick and not the 3 or 4 that you get quoted from anybody else. DK Metcalf, Tua, and a running back that I expect to be redundant this time next year. All day, I'm smashing it. Oh, and I get Kirk Cousins and a second-round pick back. Smashing it. Well done, whoever got Jamar Chase.
I like it. It sounds like you would do that trade just for Jamar Chase. Would you? Take out
if it
Kirk
come
Cousins?
down to it, yeah. If it come down to it, I would flinch at the fact that I'm giving a quarterback in a super flex league and not receiving one back. But I would definitely do that without having to receive the second round pick. I would do that straight for Jamar Chase and Kirk Cousins.
Oh man,
in a heartbeat.
Fantasy Dog does not agree with your Montgomery take, which I think
Khalil Herbert's the best running back in Chicago. Anyway, where's Monty going to go?
He is. There's a lot of landing spots. There's
a lot of free agent running backs. There's a lot of free agent running backs coming up.
A ton of free agent running backs, which is going to make for a very good show here in the next couple months.
For sure. So Monty will be the best running back in the CFL or XFL next season, 100%. But they don't count for fantasy points.
All right. What if David Montgomery goes to Cleveland and plays a Kareem Hunt role?
Okay, my RB2.
And one last question, what is Trey Lance's stock?
This hurts. I'm a Trey Lance believer as well, but it's hard. Like, if you've got him, what are you going to sell him for? You're going to sell him for the first round pick and just go, I'll take pick 110 for him, knowing how high you must have taken him to acquire him or what you must have traded to acquire him? Or do you sit on him and hope that he comes back next year? And I'm not selling him for a single first round pick. I'll say that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I'm buying him for more than that. So do with that what you will.
Yeah. Trey Lance seems like a nice inclusion in a trade where you're giving up Trey Lance plus to upgrade your quarterback. You're giving up Trey Lance and a first to go get a Deshaun Watson or something while his value is still a little bit depressed.
Yeah, I think that's a great shout. I think I'd probably do that, to be fair. If I'm not contending this year, someone's going to give me a first and Trey Lance, I'd seriously consider it, I think.
Yeah, I like it. And if I told you to swear on, I don't know, your mother's life that Trey Lance would be the starter for the San Francisco 49ers next year, would you do it?
No. No. I definitely wouldn't. I'd like him to be, and I think he will be, but I'm not putting my mother's life on it.
See, that's the scary part.
Yeah, that exactly it is the scary part. But you trade him for a first, and he does start, and he runs this Niners offense even half as well as what people are thinking he can. You're going to feel like you've been robbed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's a difficult one, Trey Lance. I'm looking forward to getting into that in the offseason, I think.
Oh, yeah, that'll be fun. And thank you, Fantasy Dog. You guys are good. Liked and subscribed. You're the man. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
So we are going to wrap this up, and I am going to roll over into Fourth and Frames. Bill is going to roll over into bed because he is over in the UK, right. And it is very late. So please stick around for Fourth and Frames. Come back next week. If you are listening, which I am a listener, please download on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, basically wherever you can listen to podcasts. Download, follow, whatever they call it. And after Fourth and Frames, please listen to Shoot the Gap, our IDP podcast. And tomorrow night, please tune into The Daily Fix, our DFS podcast. Those guys are on a heater right now. They're making some great calls.
Oh, they kill it every week, man. Every week they kill it.
Oh, yeah. So, Bill, thank you for joining me. Everyone, thank you for listening. Please have a good night.